Here's a small piece of advice. At the coin toss at the start of a match, should I choose to serve or to receive? If you had to pick the two most crucial skills, what would they be? The serve and the receive. So, if you must choose only one, which is more important, the serve or the receive? Correct. The serve is the most important. Why would any player choose the receive over the serve? The receive is reactive, you can't predict where your opponent will serve. And if they have a tricky serve, maybe an illegal toss, or they hide it, you'll be helpless. That's why you must prioritize your serve over your receive. The serve is the only shot you fully control and it sets up your attack. Even with an excellent receive, you're usually just getting the ball on the table. If you can win the point outright on your return, it just means their serve was poor. Alright, let's talk tactics today. A common tactic is serving to the backhand baseline. Do you typically serve topspin or backspin there? From what I see, amateurs serve backspin, the opponent pushes it back, and then you struggle to loop the next ball. So why serve there? Let's change our placement and mindset. Serve to the wide sideline, not just deep backhand. Use more of a forward push and less side spin. This way, if they try to attack, it's much harder for them to generate power. See? You can't hit it solidly. And if they push it, because of the wide placement, the return often comes back half long and high. Then you can win the point with just 50 to 60% power. Many players just serve deep to the backhand, but if the opponent has a good push, the return is very difficult to attack. Your recovery is slow, and they can use your pace against you, making it even tougher. So, let's abandon that standard placement. A true backhand baseline serve is one that goes wide off the sideline. To be clear, I'm not talking about the short corner, that's a different tactic. A long serve that curves out past the sideline is what defines an effective backhand serve. Give it a try. I guarantee it will be more effective than your standard deep backhand serve. So, drop that conventional placement. Everyone practices returning that serve. If you want to fast-track your improvement and beat more experienced players, you can't stick to conventional patterns. For me, short backhand isn't here in the middle, it's the wide corner, right on the sideline. Similarly, short forehand isn't near the middle, it's wide to the sideline. A player's reach is limited. They can cover a certain area without moving their feet, but once you serve outside that range, they're forced to move, and that creates an opening. Create difficulty for them, and simplicity for yourself. Second, let's talk about the short forehand serve. The reason reverse side spin is tricky for amateurs is that it breaks away from the body, demanding precise footwork. Regular side spin, however, breaks into the body. So if you serve that or a simple backspin here, they can return it without moving their feet. But if you serve it wide to the sideline, they are forced to move. See, he can't reach it just by moving one foot. But for the serve breaking in, it's easy for him. The reason your serves lack threat is because you aren't using the sidelines. When you practice your long serves, demand precision. Aim for the sideline. Same with your hook serve, sideline. If you serve to the middle where they don't have to move their feet, you're just setting them up for an easy attack. Same for your short serves. Whether it's backspin, side spin, or a hook serve, make the wide sideline your target. Same goes for your long forehand serve. You think you're surprising them, but you're just serving down the middle. If you serve here to the wide corner, they are forced to move. So when you practice, you must set a rule. The serve is only valid if it lands in this precise target zone. Right now, your situation is probably this. You know their short forehand is weak, but your serve goes high or half long. You know a long serve is effective at 9 to 9, but you serve it out. You know heavy spin works, but you serve into the net. Does this sound familiar? It proves your fundamentals aren't solid enough. So what's the solution? When you practice serves, if your spin isn't great yet, you must first master your placement. At least if you know their long forehand is a weakness, you can consistently serve there. A backhand baseline serve only counts if it's in the channel along the sideline. Practice every single ball like this. For the long forehand, set a target, it must land in the channel along the sideline. Anything outside of that is a failure. Same for the short forehand. It must land in the precise corner spot. Any serves outside of that are invalid. You have to add challenges and goals to your practice, otherwise it becomes boring. For example, Today my goal is to successfully land 50 short forehand serves with good placement and sidespin backspin. Developing heavy spin can take 6 months, but mastering placement doesn't have to. The same rule applies to the short backhand corner. The serve must land inside this small triangle. If it goes outside, it's a failed rep, an error. I find that the serve is the most mentally affected shot. Have you noticed? You can be serving great in practice, but the moment an opponent stands there ready to receive, the quality of your serve drops significantly. One service error in a match, and your quality drops again. Overthinking it makes it even worse. When the score is tight, like 9-9, your serve quality will drop. You'll be lucky to just get it over the net. You must combine elements, spin with placement, placement with variation, speed with spin. That's how 1 + 1 becomes greater than 2. A single element is not enough. If your serve is fast but only goes to one spot, it's useless. If your serve is spinny but only goes to one spot, it's also useless. If it takes 6 months to develop a spinny serve, why not use that time to develop both spin and placement simultaneously? Be efficient. Some players say, I'll practice my forehand for 6 months, then I'll start my backhand. That's the wrong approach. Within 1 effective hour of practice, you should be working on forehand, backhand, footwork, loops, and pushes. These are your daily drills. So, that was our first key point, how to practice placement. The second key point is to change your mindset. A spinnier serve doesn't always mean a better result. The more spin you put on the ball, the more spin comes back on their push, making it very difficult for you to loop. Let me demonstrate. First, a serve with medium spin, just push it back normally. Now, a very heavy backspin serve. When deciding to use heavy spin, if the opponent is making errors, keep doing it. If they aren't, you're just digging a hole for yourself. Simplify your spin, don't always serve with maximum backspin. Let me test this another way. I'll serve heavy backspin, and he will loop it. See how it goes long? Now I'll serve with less spin. He can't use my spin, and the ball has less energy. If your opponent's level is low and they can't handle spin, then by all means, serve as spinny as possible. But if they have a good touch and can push, flick, add spin, or loop, don't serve with maximum spin. It will put you in an awkward position. If you try to block their return, the ball will fly off the table. If they push it back, you'll net the ball if your technique isn't perfect. If you try to loop it slow and safe, they will counterattack you, just like that. They'll punish that shot. Now for sidespin topspin serves. Don't focus on making them incredibly spinny. A spinny topspin serve is slow, which allows your opponent to time it and attack. This applies to short serves too. Why do you get flicked so often? Because you're trying to maximize the spin, and the ball pops up. With topspin serves, your priority should not be spin. It should be speed. Essentially, it's a fast, long serve. No one can push a long topspin serve. If they try to drive it with power, it will go long. If they just touch it, the return will be weak, and you can smash it. Sidespin topspin is all about speed. Speed. It's about speed and deception. Your preparation should look like a short serve, then you suddenly accelerate into a long serve. That's how you create a threat. Do you play chess? Do you go fishing? You need that kind of strategic mindset. You have to bait your opponent. What do I mean? If your short forehand serve is your strength, don't lead with it. After a few, they'll adjust. Instead, use a big motion like you're serving long, then at the last second, serve short to the forehand. That moment of deception will catch them off guard. Conversely, if your long serve is your weapon, don't just telegraph it. Use the same big, deceptive motion for both your short and long serves to confuse your opponent. Often, when I want to use my backspin serve later, I'll start by only serving topspin. If I want to use topspin, I'll start with backspin. I do this to get them accustomed to a certain rhythm and spin. Many players are heavily influenced by the previous point or game. Second, if I want to serve long, I'll start by serving short. If I want to attack from their backhand, I'll start by serving to their forehand. If I want to attack from their forehand, I'll start by serving to their backhand. At the beginning of a match, don't use all your best serves. Your goal is to probe and test them. For instance, check their problem areas, serve sidespin topspin to their backhand and see if they push or loop. Serve wide to the sideline, see if they push or loop. Let me give you a tip, when you're probing, use more topspin serves. Why? Because with a backspin serve, they will almost always just push. When you serve topspin to the backhand baseline, do they push it or loop it? To the wide backhand sideline, do they push or loop? Short to the forehand, do they push or loop? Deep to the middle, do they push or loop? Test these 4 spots. If they push everything, you're in a great position. You know you can now use sidespin, topspin, no spin, and fast serves. If they are very aggressive and attack everything, then use heavy backspin. The spin will make them more likely to make an error on their attack. When they adapt, you adapt. For example, if they pushed everything but now start to loop, switch to heavier spin. If they attacked everything, give them spin. If they pushed everything, give them topspin or no spin to get an easier ball to attack. Probe early, and always start with topspin. If you serve backspin and miss 2 loops, your confidence will plummet. After probing, especially early in each game, remember their weakest point. Say you served a short sidespin topspin to their backhand and they missed or gave you an easy ball. At 9-9, you use that serve. In critical moments, think back, what serve did they miss? And which follow-up are you most confident with? If I serve long to their forehand, can I handle the ball that comes back to my forehand? If you're not confident, then serve short to their forehand to force a high ball, and smash it. This is how it works, players. Don't just serve without thinking. In critical moments, you must analyze the match. After 7 points, which is considered the endgame for professionals, or at 9-9, or 10-8, take a moment and think. Okay, he missed 2 returns earlier, one was my wide backspin serve. But if he returns it, can I loop it now? You have to know your own condition. If your hand feels tight, don't serve it. The chances of a direct service ace aren't always high. So what's a better option? My short forehand serve worked well, he returned it high and I'm confident I can put it away. Then you execute that pattern, serve short forehand and prepare for your attack. If you feel nervous and can't handle the return from a certain serve, don't force it. Change your tactic immediately. I often ask myself at 9-9, should I play a topspin rally or a backspin rally? Because sometimes I know I can't win a topspin exchange against this opponent. In that case, I have to rely on a heavy backspin serve and hope for an error on their part. On the other hand, if I feel their push today is tricky and I'm struggling to loop it, then I must force myself to serve topspin and play the rally. You have to have this internal dialogue. You have to be your own coach. At 5-5, talk to yourself, come on, stay focused. Be confident. Get your center of gravity down for the backspin serve, stay patient, maximize the friction. Remind yourself of these things so you're ready for the return. On another level, playing with this kind of strategy makes the game much more interesting. Do you think this knowledge is taught? It's not. This comes from playing thousands of matches and learning from them. No coach will tell you these specific things. A coach will correct your technique and your general awareness, but not these subtle competitive details. This is wisdom earned through countless losses. Here's a small piece of advice. At the coin toss at the start of a match, should I choose to serve or to receive? You must choose to receive. But look, 90% of amateur players will choose to serve. Why choose to receive? Because if they serve first, it means you'll be serving at the critical 9-9 point. Your chances of winning the point are always higher when you're serving in a clutch situation. That's the first reason. The second reason, if they serve first, that means I get to choose the side of the table. I will choose the side with fewer distractions. If you have the choice, and one side has a solid wall behind it, I'm choosing that side. My background is stable, with no movement. My concentration won't be broken by lighting, people walking by, or other distractions. Third tip, when the match starts and they are about to serve, casually wipe the table. Move your feet, get your center of gravity low. Don't just stand there straight-legged before they serve. This has a psychological effect. When your opponent sees you looking so professional, wiping the table, proper ready position, they might get intimidated and their serve might get weaker. You have to carry yourself like a pro. It can make them think, wow, this person must have had coaching, and it plants a seed of doubt. They start questioning their own game. When it's your turn to serve, never serve to the same spot twice in a row. For example, backspin, then backspin again. That is just giving away free points. Even if they miss the first one, it's still a bad tactic. Your first two serves should be designed to disrupt their expectations and make them uncertain. For instance, at 0-0, surprise them with a fast, long serve. They'll be thinking, why would he attack me on the very first point? It can throw them off completely. At 0-0 or 1-0, serve short to their backhand. They'll be confused, thinking, that's not the standard opening serve. Shouldn't he be serving to my backhand corner? Serve a short hook serve at 0-0. They might miss an easy-looking ball and start to get frustrated with themselves. And now they'll be watching that spot. If you follow it up with a long serve to their backhand, their confidence will be shaken. The turning point in a match can be something very small. You see it even in professional matches, a lucky net cord, a missed easy smash, or a powerful counterloop rally that boosts morale. Sometimes the momentum shifts in an instant. Untrained players tend to dwell on their mistakes. If you can stay focused and press your advantage during those moments, that's how you win.